It was the first time you were invited to someone's home. What impressed or surprised you about their lifestyle? I went to a friend's birthday party. I was warned that they eat takeout and don't cook themselves. I got there and was speechless. They didn't have any dishes, pots or pans. No glasses, no coffee cups. Nothing at all. The kitchen cabinets were crammed with random things like board games, batteries, spare light bulbs, disposable plates, a drawer full of plastic spoons and forks. I will never understand this. I want coffee as soon as I open my eyes. Coffee. Bath. Shower. Who wants to go out every morning to order something? I can't even bring myself to go down to the lobby for coffee when I stay in a hotel. One of our richest friends lives in a house with no furniture. There are a few camping chairs near the kitchen counter. A mattress hiding between piles of different clothes acts as a bedroom. He ironed each item before putting it on. I spent a weekend with a friend who was the youngest in a family of 8 sons. At our house, it is customary to talk quietly and calmly. And here, all 10 people were communicating by shouting. Until then, someone shouted in my presence only when someone was in danger or someone was very angry. But these guys were yelling at each other to get a piece of pizza. I realized that when there are 10 of you and 9 of you are guys, you have to yell to be heard, but my internal danger meter was reading 11 all weekend. A friend of mine from school lived on a farm in Elsie. One day I went to visit him for the first time. As soon as the door was opened, I saw a sheep running down the stairs. It was a newborn lamb. It was trying to survive, warming itself near the stove. Here in the U.S. on my parents' farm, if a lamb is born in the snow, it starts life with a warm shower and whiskey. The warm water raises the body temperature, and the whiskey makes it jump around, stimulating blood circulation. This has saved dozens of calves. They almost always frostbite their ears if they are born in such conditions. It took me 3 visits to my friend's house before I realized that there were no mirrors. I'm still not sure if this is a conscious choice or a problem, but it surprised me a lot. Dude, they must be vampires. A friend accidentally broke a plate while doing the dishes, and his dad didn't yell at him, hit him, or threaten him with a belt or anything else. The first thing his father did was ask my friend if he was hurt. This shouldn't be shocking, but it was for me. My sister's husband has a hobby of woodworking. I knew it was a very important part of his life. But when I came to his house, he had turned the whole house, except for the bedroom and bathrooms, into one giant carpentry workshop. My friend asked me if I would be a Kit Kat. Of course, I said yes. He unwrapped the candy, put it on a plate. Then he put it in the microwave until the chocolate wafers melted. I was stunned and rushed to tell him that I didn't need a microwave. He looked shocked and asked me, "What about those cheeses?" We were in middle school, so we must have been about 12. My friend and I went to another friend's house. His father said hello and immediately asked, "Do you guys want to come in and watch porn?" My friend and I looked at each other with a silent question. What the fuck? And we politely declined. I still think it was terribly strange because his son didn't look worried at all. A friend invited me to his house when we were in high school. It was then that I found out that his parents were not just well off like mine. They were damn rich. He lived not just in a house, but in a whole complex that consisted of a main house, a pool house where he lived, a cottage where his older sister lived, and a clubhouse, and they had a garage for 8 cars and a yacht garage where their fucking yacht was. Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, their house was surrounded by a pond, which meant that the only way to get to the yard was through a bridge. So they had their own drawbridge. Fully dressed mannequins are placed in various poses throughout the house. In front of the TV at the dining room table, holding glasses, etc. Very creepy. This is in case the wet bandits ever decide to reunite. All the lighting in the house was red. Some astrologer told them it would bring good luck. I remember going to visit a Somali family who had decorated their house like a typical Somali home. They had a 2-bedroom house, but in all rooms, including the living room, there were mattresses on the floor, ethnic blankets hanging on the walls, and no beautiful carpets, tables, or beds to be seen. It didn't look cheap, and it didn't look like money was the problem. I asked my friend where they sleep. She explained that they just choose a place, take a blanket from the built-in wardrobes, and sleep there. No one had a bedroom, they just slept wherever they wanted. And to eat, They took a blanket from the built-in wardrobes that were in each room and just spread it on the floor and ate there. Clothes were also in the built-in wardrobes. I was invited to a friend's house. Their whole house was rotting, deteriorating, and almost falling apart. But when I entered his room, I saw that everything was exquisite, high-tech, and expensive. This family treated their child like God, but let their house rot. I still can't get my head around it. When I first entered the house, it felt like I walked into a black room. I could see colored spots on the walls, but the walls of the house were mostly coal black spots on the walls. But the walls of the house were mostly coal black. I didn't think much about it at the time, but in an instant I felt bored and lonely. I took a closer look at the charred walls and discovered that they were not affected by the fire. It was mold. The dude lived in a mold-infested house. When I got home, I took the longest shower I've ever taken and immediately picked out some clothes. It seemed like I had just left a radioactive zone. I remember the first time I saw a healthy marriage. I went to a friend's house for a sleepover in the 6th grade, and the next morning her parents were making breakfast, joking, and kissing. I was absolutely shocked. I had never seen such intimacy from a married couple before. Even now, I try to be like them every day in my relationship with my husband. My best friend's parents used to leave the Christmas tree up all year and replace it only a week before Christmas. Even the last year's gifts were gathering dust on the fireplace, and in any case, all this goodness looked better than my apartment, so I quickly got used to this interior. My husband's mother was a collector. When we first visited them together, he hinted to me for the last 30 minutes before we arrived that the house was shabby chic and a bit cluttered, but I was not prepared for that. Every flat surface in the house was littered with periodicals and books. Every wall was covered with framed artwork ranging from preschool drawings to true gallery-quality pieces. Every room was crammed with furniture. Kitchen countertops were covered with appliances. The upstairs bedrooms were mostly in order with the exception of one, which was literally overrun with new clothes labels on every item from wall to wall, from floor to ceiling. In every bathroom there were cat litter boxes all overflowing with garbage and animal waste. They had one cat. Apparently no one liked to throw away the garbage, so the solution was to just buy and put another litter box in the bathroom. The basement was also overflowing with shoulder-width passages and warnings to give to have a look, because she was small and knew what was where. She died quite tragically about a year later. It was obvious that the father had long ago given up on the situation because it was easier to hide the disaster than to undermine his life and the lives of everyone else by trying to fix it. It took 3 hard years of work to get rid of all her accumulated belongings. The problem was that despite the fact that much of it was garbage, there were many valuable things. She had hidden savings bonds and magazines and newspapers, so they all had to be evaluated. And there's more. There was $100,000 hidden in old issues of MS and National Geographic. The invited guests were shocked to see 2 cats hanging out on the kitchen surfaces as the plates were being prepared for serving, licking, and biting at will. The owners didn't even lift a finger to keep them from the food that was to be served to the guests. I am 32 now, but when I was about 11 or 12, I was invited to hang out with my brother at my friend's house. We were there for about an hour, and I had to go to the bathroom. The guys explained how to get to it and said, "Be careful." At first I didn't understand why, but then it became obvious. They kept an iguana in the bathroom without a cage. It was just chilling on the sink. I still have a question. Thank you for watching, friends. In the comments below the video, write what strange things you noticed in the guests. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes. See you soon.